What I'd like to talk about in this short is our ability to respond to the hits. And what I mean by that is that as we are in these stormy times, what's being brought to the surface and challenged is the very fabric of the system as it has been up until now. And so we are getting events that are bringing up to the surface the things that we need to look at in terms of actually being able to make new choices so that we can create the new. So whether it's climate breakdown, well, climate change and then environmental breakdown, COVID, the war in Ukraine, rights movements, be it Black Lives Matter or more recently, the abortion rights piece. What we're being asked to really look at is what are the pieces that have been going on under the surface that we haven't really been digging into enough? And how can we now start to look at these issues, which actually are complex? Recently we've been looking at it from a place of polarization. Polarization is convenient, but what it actually ignores is the complexity of all these issues. It's the fact that we can't just resolve them from our heads, from our thinking. There's also an emotional heart piece that we need to integrate within that. And the reason I mention that is what I've encountered in those situations is that the hits come and I experience profound rage. And to be honest, I've been experiencing rage at a level that I haven't for a long time. And what I've been sitting with is, well, what do I do with this rage? In the sense that I actually feel like that rage it's important to acknowledge it. It's important to own it. It's important to let it go through me, to embody it, because it has something to tell me that's important. Rage belongs to the anger family in terms of emotions. And what anger is about, it's about protecting the things that matter to us. It's the places where we are called to set boundaries. And so that rage it's telling me that some of the things that are core to what I deeply care about are being threatened. What I see is that it's tempting to either try and numb out the rage and not feel it. Because, it's not like very ladylike, is it, to experience rage? It's not what the good soldier does. Because the good soldier doesn't fully kind of deeply really care about stuff. It can stay on the surface of things and just rationally think about it. So rage is an inconvenient emotion, but it's also a necessary emotion. And so it's not just about numbing it, but it's not also about just going with it and what I call just vomiting it over everybody else. It's about taking that rage and digging deeply inside of us, honoring it, acknowledging it, feeling it through, to get the message as to what it is telling us that we really deeply care about. And when we've understood that, we can come back to our center and let that awareness, consciousness inform our leadership. But then we make a choice about what kind of leader we want to be and how we want to lead around these things that we deeply care about. Because you see, when you either numb it, or excuse my language, but vomit it, usually it doesn't change anything. Because actually, catalyzing change is an art. And it means that we have to step into being these inspiring agents of positive transformation, informed by these aspects, these elements that are deeply held in our hearts. But then we have to be conscious about how we bring our conversations, how we talk about it. Not just disconnecting from our emotional side, but bringing that in the right way, because change alchemizes in the emotions. And the reason I want to speak to that is the hits are going to keep coming, because it's waking you up to what you really care about and where your stand is. What I say to the people I work with is, if you want to know where your calling is, just look at what makes you angry. Because that's where the friction of that awakening, of that awareness actually is. So the hits are going to keep coming to awaken you to what you deeply care about, until the point where you start to choose to take a stand. But it's important to separate the full blown rage from how you're going to show up as a leader, as an emotionally intelligent, aware leader, not just a disconnected leader coming from your head, just kind of arguing the case. I was a lawyer, I know all about that. It's about that leader that is going to stand for what you believe in, but also learn to bring people with you by engaging emotionally with yourself and with them in the right way. So feel that rage, let it tell you who you are, what you're really about, what is the difference you really want to make, and then consciously make that difference.